Welcome to the NWR Resources virtual series. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and next up we have Legacy Minerals. ASX code is LGM, and Legacy only listed in mid-September. Joining us today is Chris Byrne. He's the Managing Director. Legacy Minerals are doing lots of drilling out in the Lachlan Fold Belt for their gold, copper and base metals. Here to tell us the story, let's welcome Chris. Chris, great to see you. Over to you to tell us the Legacy Minerals story.
And great to see you again, Kerry. And yeah, it's good to have us here today. So yeah, presenting Legacy Minerals. As Kerry mentioned, we recently listed on the 13th of September, and we've been straight away stuck into our high-grade gold target down at HARDEN, where we've been drilling out some pretty good-looking targets down there. And so I've been seeing some quite exciting news flow come through. So I'll run through that and the rest of the portfolio today. And true disclaimer. In terms of an investment snapshot for Legacy Minerals, there's lots going on for the company at the moment. We're currently drilling, or actually just completed the campaign down at HARDEN, where I currently, the exploration team and I are based down here, are waiting for assays from about half the holes that we've got left. We've got further drill campaigns planned for the rest of the year, which are really exciting as well, looking at BAULOORA, high-grade, low sulfidation epithermal system with some real high-grade targets there. Overall, we've got 16,000 metres of drilling planned across the next 2 years. So that's with the IPO use of funds. So again, really exciting to drill out our package of 5 significant gold and copper projects, all 100% owned by the company, unencumbered, no royalties, full control. What they give, along with that 16,000 metres of drilling, is exposure to multiple discovery opportunities. So we're talking about numerous share price value catalysts that we're looking at. In terms of where those projects sits, we've got some prime position in the Lachlan Fold Belt of New South Wales, and really targeting quite a diverse range of mineral systems. We've got our porphyry-related copper gold up at Rocklea. We've got our epithermal target at BAULOORA. We've got our COBAR type, VHMS, and what we're drilling at the moment at HARDEN, high-grade, low sulfide system. Those projects all present significant exploration potential. And not only significant exploration potential, so we're talking about discovery opportunities here, by the nature of our targeting the high grade, shallow exploration targets also gives us the opportunity to look at potential near-term resource definition. So it's something that the company are actively planning towards, particularly as we've seen some quite encouraging drill results come in and assays come back from our HARDEN project. So we're quite excited about that. And just to sort of showcase the sort of the grades that we're looking at across our projects, is just an example of the BAULOORA mine mullock assayed by the team earlier this year. Photo of it there, grading almost 20 grams gold, 460 grams per tonne silver, 6% copper, and 9% lead plus zinc. Just briefly on a company strategy and corporate snapshot, we listed 13th of September at 20 cents. So we've trading slightly above that. 75 million shares on issue. In terms of a bit of a company snapshot, our top 20 shareholders make up 23% of the company. It was really fortuitous and great to see a really strong institutional support at the IPO. So up to 23% of the IPO book build came from large institutions. So that was really exciting to see, and that's very much testament to the joint lead managers, CLSA and St. Gabriel, who took us through. In terms of that issued capital structure, significant board and management ownership of the company. So we're very much, invested in seeing shareholder returns, through, an increase in the share price there. About 40% of our current investors came on at the IPO, and almost 50% of the existing shareholders escrowed for at least 12, the majority for 24 months. It's a very tightly held company. And so a lot of strong holders and large holders as well, with over 80% of the issued capital sitting in the top, shareholdings over 100,000. In terms of the project portfolio, we're sitting in the Lachlan Fold Belt of New South Wales, which is home to several world-class mines, most notably Katie Ridgeway, large copper gold porphyry there, Cow, Evolution's epithermal, further south from Cadia, and then up near COBAR, we've got the Peak Gold Mines, CSA, Glencore. So it's an excellent jurisdiction. It's mining and exploration friendly. Importantly for Legacy Minerals, having all our 5 projects co-located in this region allows us for cost-effective exploration, really good synergies with mobilising, demobilising from different sites, continuity of drill campaigns, continuity of exploration programs and results. And we've really seen that in our ability to immediately post the listing, start to deliver assays, within 2 weeks of listing date. So it showcases just how proactive we are in getting on the ground and getting those results back across our 864 square kilometres of fully granted licensed tenements in New South Wales. In terms of the Legacy Minerals team, I'll just briefly go through, but we've got the right people, the right team to make the discoveries. So Thomas Wall and Doug Menzies, our 2 exploration geologists sitting on the board, and then the team to develop them. Myself, as an engineer by background, I've got Dr. David Carland, our chairman, Matt Wall and Ian Morgan. So quite a diverse team in terms of skill sets from corporate, geological, mining, logistics, marketing backgrounds. And that's quite a well-rounded package that really enables our exploration guys to hit the ground and do the work that they need to do to, and make those discoveries. So onto HARDEN. If you've been seeing some of the announcements, we've been drilling out there, seen some quite exciting results from our maiden RC drill campaign. We finished up 1,500 metres down there. That's a photo of the rig currently drilling the BAULOORA mine site in that photo. Excitingly, we were seeing some visible gold and some of the RC chips coming back as well. So it's become quite an encouraging system, and we're quite excited about the prospects and the further drilling that we've got planned down there. So where those 2 projects sit, they reside in the young granodiorite, which is an alluvial gold and hard rock system that produced around 460,000 ounces of gold, like in the gold rush era. Legacy Minerals, the 2 major mines in that 460,000 ounce district are the HARDEN and McMahon's Reef gold mines, historically shut down, just after World War I. Real high grade producers. HARDEN produced close to 55,000 ounces at 21 grams per tonne, and that's where we've been drilling. We know it's mineralised from surface. Production grades are up to 50 grams per tonne. We've done IP over the area. We've come up, with numerous untested IP anomalies as well, of which we were able to drill some during this current campaign. And we've got some really exciting recent highlights from the drilling down there. So 2 metres at 19 grams per tonne gold. That included a 1 metre at plus greater than 30 grams per tonne, within a 5 metre at 7.8 grams per tonne from 100 metres. And some more recent drilling has come back 3 metres at 4.6 grams per tonne gold, within 8 metres at 2.4. They're coupled with some historic drill intercepts from the 1980s, 81. Again, quite significant, 3.6 metres at 21, including 2 at almost 40, 3 metres at 10 as well. So a really exciting high-grade system, and we're really encouraged as we uncover and develop this system. It's got a very predictable low-grade lode structure. We're seeing parallel high-grade veins. It's open along strike, down deep into surface. So it's very exciting. There's a good cross-section there just showing the grades that we're seeing. It's never been tested at depth, so we're planning to drill that probably Q1 next year, once we get the final assays back and interpret the results from them. As I said, we've done 1.5 k's of drilling. We've got 5,000 metres, budgeted for this project. So it's a significant opportunity for us to continue this exploration down there. And again, I'll talk about that opportunity for near-term resource definition, and that's something that the company's actively planning with that use of funds. So on to BAULOORA. BAULOORA, we're mobilising that drill rig shortly too. It's drill ready, bonanza grades, and it's a low sulfidation epithermal. So low sulfidation epithermals are really exciting systems. They're known to host world-class deposits and mines. The closest operating low sulfidation system above a low-grade porphyry is Evolution's Cow mine up there in the Ordovician. So we're down in the Silurian down here, and we really like BAULOORA as a project. It's one of the largest epithermal alteration footprints in New South Wales. It's got bonanza grades. So we're seeing some grades there from historic sampling that was done on the unmined areas that went as high as 3,700 grams per tonne silver, almost 7 grams per tonne gold, greater than 50% lead plus zinc and 6.4% copper. So that's from the BAULOORA mine. What we're seeing in this 27 square kilometre alteration halo, though, is just multiple high priority targets. We've got rock chips grading 39 grams that sit within vein systems 5 metres wide that strike for over 2 kilometres. So that's the Mimar prospect. So just consistently mineralised across this district and very, very undrilled. And we're quite excited to get in there and drill out what is really looking like a textbook system. We're seeing these congruo coliform banding, these rocks here that you could substitute out for rocks from Krakow, Pajingo, Veronese. So very exciting. This is the mine the historic mine that we're targeting underneath. As you can see, some of the grades there are quite significant, as well as the widths of the ore bodies up to 3.5 metres. That bonanza grade comes from that the pink that you see, which is an unmined production drive that they sampled, which over 60 metres, and they grab sampled up to 70 centimetre grab samples, graded over 1,000, on average, over 1,000 grams silver, and some pretty high grade gold and base metals as well. So it's quite exciting. It's very sparsely drilled, and the historic drilling in the predominantly done in the 70s was quite narrow in what they assayed. So those 0.45 metres is an indication that they only assayed 0.45 metres. So we're looking at a holistic approach. We're looking at the string of veins, the mineralisation in the country rock, and really looking at hopefully blowing this system out with the shallow drilling that we've got planned down there as well. Another real important part of the Legacy Minerals portfolio is not only our drill ready targets, but we've got a really good pipeline of prospective projects, and COBAR is one of them. We've been in COBAR since 2017, and what we've really done is taken that from an unexplored search space to a really an undrilled search space right next door to some world-class miners and explorers. We've got Aurelia immediately adjacent to our east, Glencore operating the CSA mine to the north, Sandfire very active out at COBAR, recently signed a joint venture with CDH up in Endeavour, Manuka to our south, who are doing fantastically well with their Winter Mount Poppy production, and Peel Mining as well, who have just continuing to see significant success across their projects as well. So it's a district where there's a lot of explorers, and there's a lot of explorers that are progressing towards miners. So it's an exciting place to be. And we've really got a great package and a very enviable position right at the heart of this system. We've got numerous late time AEM conductors across the tenement, which remain untested. We know it's geochemically anomalous. We're seeing gold and lag up to 1.5 grams per tonne. Which is very regionally significant. The government recently co-funded exploration and aerial magnetics and radiometrics across the tenement, and we're waiting for those results to come back in September as well. So they'll feed into us defining those high conviction drill targets. It's a very drill rich area. We're seeing lots of anomalism, particularly in the geophysics. We need to narrow those down into the best of the high conviction targets. What we're quite excited about though is that Yarrawonga prospect that we see the insert there. We've got that geochemistry, the golden lag on surface. We've got IP anomalies, late time conductors as well. So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of the right ingredients for a COBAR that potentially to host a COBAR type ore body here. You can see this is a fantastic cross section of the COBAR minefield showing Aurelia's tenements to our east. And the Peak Gold Mine. So our tenement boundary is only 2.5 kilometres from the Peak Gold Mines there. Just shows how close we are. We've got the structural complexity on the tenement. So we've got a significant control of the Mert Fault, which is a large regional fault that runs almost north-south. And we've got about 40 kilometres of the Mert Fault, which is really untested in terms of from a drilling perspective. We know it's geochemically anomalous. We're seeing anomalism in the geophysics. And we know it's in the right district where these ore bodies are found. And importantly, in the right geological units that we're exploring to as well, are known to host other deposits in the region. Most notably, Peel Mining, who are exploring in the Upper Amphitheatre group as well. In terms of the remainder of the portfolio, we've got two really fantastic projects, Fontenoy and Rockley. So Fontenoy and Rockley, again, you can sort of see the gold, copper focus amongst our base metal targets as well. Fontenoy is a really significant system. It's mineralized for 8 kilometers. So at the top of that, the Andilla volcanics, which is intruding into the young granodiorite. We've got some significant mineralization there, which has been proven through some historic drilling. So 79 meters at almost 0.3% copper from surface, it's an exciting target. At the very southern end of that system, we're seeing 14 meters at 0.72 grams gold and 0.37% copper, again from 100 meters, so relatively shallow. When you think about that as an 8 kilometer long system, there's very little drilling that's been done across that extent. So again, it's very rich in the geochemistry, particularly in the copper and gold in the soils. We also know that there is potential for PGE, the platinum group elements here as well. There's nickel occurrence there. So it's quite exciting. It's never really been explored from that perspective. We do know there's some old chromite workings in the area as well. So it's quite an exciting system. There's lots of opportunity for us to get in there and really drill between those intersections, which again are quite widely spaced across that 8 kilometer strike. And on our right is the Rockley project. So Rockley sits within the Lachlan Transfer Zone, which is, I guess, an internationally recognised and often debated zone of particular inference in the Ordovician rock of New South Wales, which is known to host, some of the major porphyry deposits. So we're sitting in the Macquarie Arc. We're in the Rockley Goulgong volcanics there. And what really excites us about Rockley is just it has, again, all the right ingredients that we're seeing for a potential porphyry at depth. We've got rock chips grading up to 4% copper, historic high-grade copper mines grading up to 23% copper. We're seeing a zone of intense silicification at surface, which may be indicative of a remnant lithocap. What we like as well is that we've got this third-party recognition of the prospectivity. That Kennex, an artificial intelligence company in New South Wales Geological Survey, did a study, and they essentially ranked Legacy Minerals tenement in the Rockley Goulgong volcanics as being the most prospective for porphyry copper gold mineralization in the entire Rockley Goulgong volcanics. And that's important when you look at the neighbours that we're exploring amongst there. We've got Newmont, Anglo American, gold and copper resources, so some significant explorers in that district. In terms of the timelines and what the company's got planned, we've completed our initial HARDEN campaign, and we're looking at mobilising to BAULOORA shortly. What we've seen, 16,000 metres we've got planned is numerous drill campaigns across all our projects over the next 2 years. And that's really important because that draws investors back to share price catalysts. For exploration companies come through discoveries, and what we're giving to investors that are looking to get on board with the Legacy Minerals journey is exposure to those discoveries. And not only are we talking exposures to discoveries, we've got these follow-up campaigns where potentially, if the grades and the results are right, we're looking at targeting those resource defining programs. So that's in particular for HARDEN and BAULOORA. So there's lots of opportunities there. And then while we're doing those really high impact activities, we've got this generative targeting work that we're doing across the tenements as well, geochem, geophys. So it just gives a very good, consistent flow of information as we build on our projects and as we develop them and take them forward. So to sort of sum it up, we are aggressively exploring in the Lachlan Fold Belt, exploring currently with our drill campaigns. We've got fantastic jurisdiction exposure, significant exploration potential. We've got a very competitive market capitalisation at 15 mil with close to 6 million cash on hand after raising 5.8 million at the IPO. So we're well funded, well exposed. We've got the right team that knows how to deliver return for shareholders. So I do invite investors to seriously consider joining us on our journey.
Chris, thank you very much. Really good presentation, because it just shows the projects and what you've got and where you've got it. Now, for those of you that are watching live today, if you want to ask a question, drop it in the little Q&A box below the panel within Zoom, and I promise you I will get Chris to answer any and all of your questions. But because they're not asking anything at the moment, I'm going to ask a couple, Chris. First up, I guess from an investor point of view, a lot of the projects that you've spoken about, they seem really, really prospective. And HARDEN, for example, was a former gold mine. BAULOORA was a mine in the past as well. And you're getting some very significant grades. How did you get your hands on this? And some of the bigger boys seem to walk past it.
Yeah, it's a great question. We started developing, Legacy Minerals as a company from 2017, and it's there has been a significant, a mad rush. We've seen it in the IPOs that have happened in the exploration and the resources space over particularly the last 2 years, and probably this year in particular, of people acquiring projects, picking up ground. Because we started building our company before that rush happened, it allows us to discern, a lot of prospective projects, that were either unpegged or unheld by any exploration company, and really pick out the ones that we thought afforded us the best opportunity for discoveries and the best opportunities to deliver shareholder value. HARDEN in particular is quite an interesting one because that was also compounded with the fact that in the Lachlan Fold Belt, there's a very big focus on bulk tonnage style deposits. So you're talking your porphyries, North Parks, your Boda type discoveries. And it wasn't really until, the purchase of Dargues Reef by Australia for $200 million, which is an intrusion related system in the young granite diorite, really sort of awakened the East to these sort of more traditionally considered, WA style high grade, narrow vein mineralization deposits, and that they can be, they're very economic, particularly at the current gold prices. And it's sort of something that has been long forgotten, that as that gold price has increased, those grades, historically they had a cutoff grade at between 12 and 15 grams per ton. So there's a lot of opportunity there that just was, seriously overlooked, and it's really fantastic that we've got that opportunity to make that discovery.
Yeah, well, you certainly pulled together some really good tenements. I'm going to get to your question in a second, David, but before I get to that, I just want a lot of focus, I guess, on the HARDEN results recently. But in your presentation just now, you talked about the results of BAULOORA mine. That seems to me, has that exceeded your expectations? Or were you going, yeah, Kerry, we're always expecting those sorts of results?
It was hard to know at HARDEN. As I said, like when you come to a project that hasn't been touched for so long, it wasn't until we started to do soils that, we were getting 5.9 grams per ton gold in the soils. We started to build up with IP that, we started to see, this system develop. And, it's the same with BAULOORA as well. We spent a lot of time, these projects have been held by previous explorers before, in particular BAULOORA. And we took a lot of time and effort to digitizing old mine workings, remodeling it, understanding the system, and really taking a very systematic, scientific, structural modeling approach to it. And that means we get these high conviction targets that allow us to, in our maiden drill campaign, get into sections, hole, I think it was hole, third hole we assayed, you talk 2 meters at 20 grams. It's because we've taken the time to build that up. So we're quite excited to get into BAULOORA again, because we're seeing a lot of parallels to HARDEN, high grade, quite shallow, and really quite, now that we've done the work, easy targets for us to deliver.
Yeah, you've done the work. David says, what are your plans if you make a major discovery? Well, his plans are to have a bloody good share price, David. No, sorry. What are your plans if you make a major discovery? Yeah,
we're strategically assessing, I guess, all the options. One of the things that we're fortuitous is that we're at a stage in the company's growth life cycle where we've got 5.6 million, 5.8 million in the bank from our IPO raise, that we've got the ability within our existing use of funds to develop a particular project more aggressively than the others if we so choose to do so. Obviously the portfolio is quite prospective, and 5 projects is there are a lot of projects for a company of our nature, so there's natural opportunities for joint venture and divestment of those as well if we choose to refocus our funds and direction onto advancing 1 or 2 of the projects more aggressively than others.
Yeah, that makes sense. Daniel asks, what will it take, Chris, to get from here to Legacy defining a JORC resource? And have you given yourselves a time frame? Well, it's a bit early, isn't it? And he also says, is HARDEN the most likely to lead the way in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, HARDEN, it will be HARDEN BAULOORA that will lead the way. That we almost decided not to move to BAULOORA and continue drilling at HARDEN, but I think it was best to keep the diversity in our package. To take at least two really good projects forward in terms of and they both have the drill meters that if the grades are right and we're seeing the consistency, that we'll plan. We've got a great team that are very experienced in these types of systems and resource drill outs. That for us to drill out a resource at HARDEN, if all those grades are going well, it's definitely likely within the next 6 months. So we're talking early to mid next year. Again, if the grades are right and the drilling goes well, we do 80-meter spacing. We gradually infill, bring that in and tighten that up, and move from inferred to indicated, depending on, again, the results that come back.
There are a lot of companies working in the Lachlan Fold Belt. Chris, you and I have spoken about this before. What do you think makes Legacy Minerals stand out from the crowd? Because what is it that makes you different? I guess one of them is the fact that you're at mines that are getting some very, very high grades.
Yeah, so like that, I think that one of the things that makes us stand out, as you said, there's a lot of offerings out there, is the right rocks. So we've seen that in the geochemistry, the work we've done on the surface, and now we're seeing it in the drilling. Significant zones of mineralized alteration and mineralized halo. We're seeing visible gold in our RC chips. So the right rocks, we're in the right location as well. So that particularly applies to COBAR type ore bodies that we're searching for, as well as your porphyry related systems as well. Rockley, we're only less than 15 k's away from a known porphyry, which has been found, the bushrange or racecourse porphyry, actively being drilled at the moment. So again, we put ourselves with the right rocks in the right location, and then lastly, we've got the right people, to take them forward. So they're the three sort of key factors I think that make us stand out as a and the right share price. It's still a competitive valuation that where we're sitting at just above 20 cents. So there's plenty of room for growth there.
Well, one of the most exciting stories, I think, only listed in September. And as you can see, Chris Byrne's come in from the field to have a chat with us today. Chris, really, I know how busy you are. Thanks so much for joining us at the NWR Virtual Resources Series today.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for having us.